new ideas, and the way the world will be very different because of all the things that we're doing. Next slide. And of course, he's here in Korea today. Next slide. It's Korea, but also the world. Next slide. And our commitment and the scale that we're going to operate in is just beginning. Next slide. Around the world. Next slide. Change. Next slide. No one will do it. Next slide. Technology. For the reasons that I just described. Next slide. Change in advertising. Next slide. Which is best in the world. Next slide. All right, next slide. Yes. So you can see it, you can hear it, and you can understand it. That's the principle around universal search. Next slide. Of some of the great R&D centers in the world here. Next slide. Mobile phone or my personal computer. Next slide. On top of maps. Next slide. Yes, it is the core of our growth. Very, very successfully. Next slide. Industry, if you chose to do it. Next slide. That vision is a very, very broad vision. Next slide. I thought I would actually show it to you. Next slide.